From the Channel 11 Broadcast Center, Dallas and Fort Worth newsrooms, and live throughout the Metroplex, this is 11 News at 6. Looking out for you.
Fort Worth's brand new Bass Performance Hall won't hold its first public performance until May 8th. But today we got a preview, a look inside the building that up until now we've only seen from the outside. 11 News reporter Mark Annick joins us live from Fort Worth. Mark, we have seen this architect's work before, haven't we?
Karen, we have. If you've ever loaded up the kids in the car and headed out to Arlington for an afternoon overlooking our own Field of Dreams, then you have already enjoyed the architectural workings of David Schwarz. His is the firm that designed the ballpark in Arlington. This latest work, the Bass Performance Hall, it will play to a different audience, but he's hoping they will be equally impressed. Right now, the only instruments inside the new Bass Performance Hall make noise, not music. The only performers here, sanders, painters, and carpenters. But their work is no less beautiful, for they are transforming a vision that existed once just on paper into reality on a piece of land in downtown Fort Worth.
The stone on the walls is a French limestone. The stone on the floors is an Italian marble.
Architect David Schwarz is the man behind the building. He says he wants people to walk in and say, wow, and not just once.
But why don't we go into the hall and show you the main event?
Schwarz designed the hall itself to be at once both grand and intimate. There are more seats here than you'll find at the Meyerson, but he says each is a good one, though some are more equal than others.
This is probably the best seat in the house. The building really is designed to have a sense of wonder and a sense of ceremony. There is something to coming together with a group of people to experience a performance.
If all that sounds rather lofty, don't worry. Schwarz remembered the practical, too. The ladies will enjoy more bathroom space than even they might have asked for.
The Tower is a piece of music that was composed for the consecration of the hall. In the women's room, there's a staff with a treble clef, and in the men's room, there's a staff with a bass clef.
It's in the details, grand and otherwise, that Schwarz may achieve his ultimate goal, to build a place not just to host a performance, but one that is a performance in itself. David Schwarz says that even when this building is completed in a couple of weeks, it won't actually be complete. He says there are murals and sculpture, other pieces of artwork that will be added, Karen, to the Bass Hall over a period of time, and that will give all of the local residents a chance to contribute, to have something to say about the look that this Bass Hall eventually will attain.
Well, Mark, it is just beautiful already. I was going to ask you when the grand opening is, but I understand that there are a few of them.
There are several, Karen. April 24th is the date when this project is supposed to be completed. May the 1st is the gala opening for the founders and contributors. And as you mentioned, May the 8th, the public opening here at the Bass Hall.
All right, Mark Annick, we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Welcome to 11 News This Morning.
Well, in about a month, the brand new Bass Performance Hall will open in Fort Worth.
And while the work there continues, one of the key people on that project gave us a tour.
The first thing you'll encounter are, of course, the entrances to the building, and East and West Dome will usher people into the hall. Architect David Schwarz says he wants people to walk in and say, wow. Schwarz hopes people will also wow inside the main hall itself, too. Its style will remind you of similar halls in Europe, with other architectural styles mixed in.
To try and create a building that is comfortable and exciting to people with whatever history they bring to the buildings. So it's a very complicated series of issues as to how you make a building that people see something that makes them comfortable in.
Now, you may have seen the two large angels outside of the hall. They are 48 feet tall and took nearly 3 years to make. Each one is constructed of 52 blocks of Texas limestone. And I think wow may even be an understatement.
Yeah,
that is gorgeous.
Very remarkable. What a nice addition.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
In about a month, the brand new Bass Performance Hall will open in Fort Worth.
And yesterday we took a tour of that building. The first thing you encounter are the grand entrances into the building. The architect says he wants people to walk in and say, wow. Pretty hard not to. Its style reminds you of similar halls in Europe with other architectural styles mixed in.
To try and create a building that is comfortable and exciting to people with whatever history they bring to the buildings. So it's a very complicated series of issues as to how you make a building that people see something that makes them comfortable in.
And these angels, no doubt, make you comfortable. They're kind of hard to miss. The 48-foot-tall angels took almost 3 years to build. Each one is constructed of 52 blocks of Texas limestone. Pretty magnificent.
Yeah, that's going to be so amazing when the doors finally open to the public there.
Open in, what, about 3 weeks, something like that?
I think so.
Yeah.
It may sometime.
You're
From WFAA-TV, Channel 8, the spirit of Texas. This is News 8 at 6.
Well, workers are adding the finishing touches to Fort Worth's new Bass Hall. The first performance will be May 8th, starring actress Carol Burnett and pianist band Cliburn. Today, the architect of the lavish hall conducted a media tour, and Channel 8's Vicki Cooper went along.
Outside, the angels rise to the sky as painters finish detail work. Inside, the eye is also drawn upward.
What we want them to do is walk in and say, wow. We want the first response to be, gee, this is a really cool place to be. And it is very much similar to walking into those large concourses in the ballpark.
Architect David Schwartz also designed the ballpark in Arlington. Bass Hall offered a few more challenges. The biggest, he says, was fitting a large, complicated performance hall on a small piece of land. Schwartz blended contemporary detail with old-world style. Italian marble covers the floors. The walls are French limestone. Light fixtures are sleek stainless steel.
We also thought it was a very clean way of dealing with the lighting.
He saved the highest level of detail for the hall itself. It seats 2,000 people in plush comfort. Vents under the seats circulate air, cooled or heated in a separate building to reduce noise.
One of the many challenges facing architects was accommodating acoustics. That meant no right angles, so all of the walls and rails are curved to better accommodate sound.
What happens is the sound waves hit them and disperse.
Even the chandelier was built to reflect sound. But before any music is played here, workers must install steel fixtures for the upcoming Phantom of the Opera tour, while painters touch up unfinished spots. The architect says he tried to think of everything, including an extra-large ladies' room to reduce long waits. But if people care to linger, there are several balconies and salons where they can gaze across the hall.
There's nothing that people enjoy doing more than looking at other people.
While surrounded by splendor, and they'll get their first opportunity May 8th with a production called Let the Angels Play. Vicki Cooper, Channel 8 News, Fort Worth.
Nice architecture, and we thought for a little while that maybe we're going to hear about El Nino, but not so fast.
We've been talking.
Now, live, this is NBC 5. Texas News at 5.
Next Friday night, the long-awaited Bass Performance Hall in Fort Worth will be formally dedicated with an outdoor sound and light show.
And once the hall opens, it'll be the sound inside that will be pivotal to its success. NBC 5's Marion Connor Norman shows us what's special about the acoustical design of the hall.
When an orchestra plays at the new Bass Performance Hall, the sound will reverberate through the hall for 2 seconds. The sound of an opera will reverberate for 1.4 seconds. This is the man who made the designs that allow those differences. As the acoustical engineer for the Bass Hall, Christopher Jaffe had a tremendous challenge.
To create a concert hall in a room that has to do so many other things. It has to work for the opera, it has to work for the ballet, for Broadway musicals, for popular entertainers.
The Bass Performance Hall is a maze of movable parts. These multi-ton panels can be lowered to deflect sound back at the audience. The concert shell can be moved forward or backward. Trap doors can be opened in the concert shell. Drapes can be opened or closed. Each movable part changes the sound in the hall. The largest moving part is a 100,000-pound retractable ceiling over the stage. In this picture, it's closed.
Every single surface in the hall affects the sound. How the seats are made is particularly important because they absorb sound. So how fat this cushion is and what this fabric is made of is crucial to how the orchestra will sound.
In a great hall, the sound of the orchestra is equally good for every audience member in every seat. And in a great hall, the sound is also good for each member of the orchestra. first reviews of the sound at the Bass Hall are very favorable.
For one of the first times I can hear the second oboist, whom I play with very often, and I normally cannot hear her on the other side of the stage, even though she's only about 10 feet away from me.
In every single place you can hear everything perfect. It's just wonderful.
But Jaffe isn't finished with his fine-tuning. He says the sound can still be better. Marion Connor Norman, NBC5.
The gala opening performances at the Bass Performance Hall will be on May 8th, 9th, and 10th. Van Cliburn, Carol Burnett, and mezzo-soprano Frederica von Stade will perform.
It's a beautiful place.
Broadcasting live for Dallas and Fort Worth. This is Fox 4 News at 5.
Well, the Fox Light is on downtown Fort Worth tonight and the debut of the Bass Performance Hall.
The Performance Hall is one of the most magnificent buildings in North Texas. You see it there. Scott Wallace is up in Sky 4, hovering above Fort Worth tonight. Scott, tell us about it.
Well, Steve, that hall is going to be dedicated this evening at 9 o'clock, and it's going to have some lights and it's going to have some sound for the public. And then in the next couple of days, they're going to have public tours here. People can make a donation and come by this performance hall. You see the two angels there. They weigh somewhere in excess of 60 tons. That's a lot of weight. They're carved out of Texas limestone. It's really a spectacular building, and it'll be open to the public this evening for the dedication out on the street. Then they're going to have a private showing for the donors inside, and then tomorrow they're going to have public showings, and then the kickoff celebration will be next weekend, May 8th and 9th, with Carol Burnett and the Symphony Orchestra. So it really should be something. We'll have more on this tonight at 5, 6, and 9 o'clock. This is Scott Wallace reporting live from Sky 4.
All right.
Scott.
Thank you, Scott. We have another perspective for you tonight. We want to take you down, deep down in those buildings onto the ground.
In front of that beautiful building is Carrie Doyen. Let's get her perspective. Entertainment reporter Carrie Doyen. Carrie, oh, she's inside. Look at the inside.
Isn't
Beautiful.
it gorgeous in here? I can't wait to come to a show here. Well, this is the night all of Fort Worth has been waiting 6 long years for. The dedication of the Bass Performance Hall will take place tonight, and I was lucky enough to go inside and get a tour with the hall's architect designer.
The Bass Performance Hall is the largest entertainment complex ever built in the United States by private funds. It took $67 million to make this dream come true. David Schwartz is the design architect responsible for the elaborate structure.
What we were trying to do was to create an extremely intimate space that still had a sense of grandeur and ceremony.
Guests will get the point as they're greeted by two 74-ton angels. Once inside, patrons can see the detailed workmanship like gold leaf light fixtures and handsome brass handrails. Even though 2,000 people can be seated for a show, Bass Hall still has a sense of intimacy.
Everything in this building is scaled to a human scale, and we really wanted to bring it down to the point that you understood yourself in the space.
And here's the view from your seat.
We wanted something that was lofty, that really made you feel like you were, that there was sky above you.
And even latecomers are taken into account.
These are the latecomer TV monitors. You can see the speaker below. The mirror is one-way glass, and there's a TV monitor behind it. We thought it important that latecomers be able to get a view of what's going on stage, but we didn't want a lot of ugly TV sets in the hall.
That looks good. Lock that.
It's all in the details, isn't it?
It's all in the details, no question.
It is definitely all in the details. This place is magnificent. The dedication will take place at 9 p.m. The public is welcome. There will be a light and sound show, and it will take place every 30 minutes. So if you missed the first one, come on out for the second one. Carrie Doyen, live from downtown Fort Worth at the Bass Performance Hall. Carrie Doyen, Fox 4 News.
Broadcasting live for Dallas and Fort Worth. This is Fox 4 News at 6.
Take a look at that shot. High above the city, angels herald today's grand opening of the Bass Performance Hall. Good evening. 4 years in the making. The spectacular 2,000-seat concert hall is ready for a public debut. What a sight. Fox 4 News reporter Richard Ray is our tour guide on the ground, and he joins us live from the Performance Hall with this sneak preview. Can't wait, Rich.
Hi, Clarice. Let the festivities begin. You know, tonight's formal dedication actually kicks off 6 weeks of grand opening activities. Let's go back to that bird's eye view from Sky 4. You know, $67 million. The Bass Performance Hall is a sight to behold. It's a tremendous booth boost rather, to the performing arts scene all over North Texas and a crowning jewel for downtown Fort Worth.
This is one of my favorite spots.
Architect David Schwartz gave us a tour of the nearly completed hall.
Because of what I imagine it to be like with all these people down there.
This is about to become the resident home for the Fort Worth Symphony, the Fort Worth Opera, the Fort Worth Dallas Ballet, and the Van Cliburn Foundation. They're all adding performances and reporting a surge in ticket sales. The performing arts world is truly energized by this new structure, a work of art in its own right.
For me, building success is the day it opens, and I'm just hoping we get everything done and that all the people like it. My dream, if you will, was to create a building that the people of Fort Worth would love, and to create a building that people would have come from all over to see. That was marvelous acoustically, that had beautiful lighting, that had a wonderful sense of procession and ceremony, and to create a building that really was a center of community life for Fort Worth.
Already the curious are getting a peek and they're liking what they've seen so far.
I think it's amazing. I can't wait until it opens up. I'm very anxious to see what it looks like inside.
I'm curious to see the rest of it.
With a small donation, anybody who wants to see it can this weekend.
Good. Lock that.
The tour will include a look at both the front of house, our lobby spaces, the audience chamber, and the back of house, backstage tour as well. And this may be one of the few times that the public is actually allowed to tour the backstage area.
There's been no performance in the building yet, and I've not yet seen the building filled with people. And that will really be when the building comes to fruition for me.
We're back live again with a view of the Bass Performing Hall from our Sky 4 Power Cam. You see those two huge angels, 74 tons apiece. Well, shortly after 9 o'clock tonight, those angels will sound their trumpets, marking the beginning of the formal dedication, followed by a sound and light show. And they'll repeat that sound and light show every half hour after that until midnight. The Saturday and Sunday tours are going to run from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Again, 6 weeks of grand opening festivities are planned here. The first performances actually begin next weekend, and they include some names you will recognize: Carol Burnett and Van Cliburn. We'll be back here at 9 when all the fun really begins. Live in Fort Worth, I'm Richard Ray, Fox 4 News.
Thank you, Richard. Keep it here tonight on Fox 4 News. As Richard said, more on the live dedication and more of the intricate details that make this concert hall a Texas treasure at 9 and 10.
Broadcasting live for Dallas and Fort Worth. This is Fox 4 News at 9.
That is a live picture from Sky 4 and the Power Cam. Dark now, about to be illuminated. This is opening night, a big celebration at the Bass Performance Hall in downtown Fort Worth. This is a big night for Fort Worth and all of North Texas. I was expecting the lights to come on.
Indeed, they could at any moment, too. So let's take you back to live pictures from Sky 4 in the meantime. The Bass Hall is one of the premier halls, performance halls in the world, and right now the opening celebration is going on just down below Scott Wallace's live picture from Sky 4, and Scott is live with us tonight. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Ashley. You know, it's electrified here in the air over Fort Worth tonight. A new addition to the Fort Worth skyline, which is always beautiful, but it's going to become a little bit more beautiful when they turn the lights on here at the Bass Performance Hall down below. So this is a live picture on the Power Cam from Sky 4, and a lot of the buildings around it are already lighted up, and they're going to turn the lights on here shortly on this one. We can see some people gathering around outside. Like I said, a lot of electricity in the air, a lot of excitement about tonight's big dedication. This is Scott Wallace reporting live from Sky 4.
Okay, Scott, we're waiting. Boy, we're going to be patient here. I hope they light it up soon.
Indeed.
Anyway, but on the ground, more from the celebration, right, Ashley?
Indeed. We're going to check back in with Scott in a little while, but right now we want to take you down low, and there he is. Richard Ray has been standing outside waiting for it all to begin. Hi, Richard.
Yeah, we all got our fingers crossed. We're waiting for this to happen. It should in any moment. Right now, the hall is hosting an invitation-only reception for the very big donors, people who gave $10,000 or more to help fund its construction. It is quite a night. The Bass Performance Hall is a tremendous boost for the performing arts scene in North Texas and a crowning jewel for downtown Fort Worth.
This is one of my favorite spots.
Architect David Schwartz gave us a tour of the nearly completed hall.
Because of what I imagine it to be like with all these people down there.
This is about to become the resident home for the Fort Worth Symphony, the Fort Worth Opera, the Fort Worth Dallas Ballet, and the Van Cliburn Foundation. They're all adding performances and reporting a surge in ticket sales. The performing arts world is truly energized by this new structure, a work of art in its own right.
For me, a building's success is the day it opens, and I'm just hoping we get everything done and that all the people like it. My dream, if you will, was to create a building that people of Fort Worth would love, and to create a building that people would have come from all over to see. That was marvelous acoustically, that had beautiful lighting, that had a wonderful sense of procession and ceremony, and to create a building that really was a center of community life for Fort Worth.
Already the curious are getting a peek and they're liking what they've seen so far.
I think it's amazing. I can't wait until it opens up. I'm very anxious to see what it looks like inside.
I'm curious to see the rest of it.
With a small donation, anybody who wants to see it can this weekend.
The tour will include a look at both the front of house, our lobby spaces, the audience chamber, and the back of house, backstage tour as well. And this may be one of the few times that the public is actually allowed to tour the backstage area.
There's been no performance in the building yet, and I've not yet seen the building filled with people. And that will really be when the building comes to fruition for me.
And we're back. Sky 4 power cam above the Bass Performance Hall, and this is nice timing. It's just begun. They've blown trumpets from the angels down there on the stage. They've got some of the lights up, as you can see. It is quite a night here. Sound and light show is going to go on from now until about 20 minutes from now, and then another sound and light show will begin at 10 o'clock every half hour from now until midnight. The tours we talked about in that earlier piece will begin tomorrow at 10 a.m. They'll run from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. Some 6 weeks of grand opening festivities are planned. Among the first to be on the stage beginning next weekend, Van Cliburn, Carol Burnett, some very big names. This really is a big event in downtown Fort Worth. I'm Richard Ray, reporting live.
Richard, I don't know if I just missed it, but we're starting to see some of the lights. Did you tell us how many people were outside and inside of roughly a head count?
Well, inside and again, these are the $10,000 and up donors. I would say probably 300 people inside the gates. Outside, maybe another 400 or 500 people have gathered. Don't have tickets to the event, but come here for the light show. And we're told this light show is going to be absolutely spectacular. We've seen them practicing it on the east wall over here. In fact, we're seeing some of that.
Wow.
That's apparently the beginnings of what is going to be a spectacular light show here.
Do we know
tonight.
if there's a particular theme to the show, to the actual lighting that we're seeing outside the building right now?
Not at least that I am privy to. We'll see what happens. I was told that, of course, we're going to start it out with the trumpeters, which we did here. We heard the two trumpeters down there, and from then on a sound and light show.
That's neat stuff. Richard, we are going to watch this all evening long and bring our viewers back to do a quick check on how things are going, and thanks for that quick update. We appreciate it. By the way, we did want to let you in on this. The Bass Hall was named for Nancy Lee and Perry R. Bass. They donated the 40,000 square foot piece of land for the hall, and later again in this newscast, we're going to check back in on the big party in downtown Fort Worth at the Bass Performance Hall.
Give me the credit. Hey, all throughout most of this newscast, we've showed you live pictures of the opening night celebrations at the Bass Performance Hall in Fort Worth.
Hundreds of people have gathered downtown. After all, the Bass Hall is one of the finest in the world now, and Fox 4 entertainment reporter Carrie Doyen is there live tonight. How do things look out there, Carrie?
They look beautiful. All the color, it's magnificent. The formal dedication of the Bass Performance Hall took place at 9:15 this evening. The lights came on, the sound went up, and beautiful sparkly confetti dropped from the sky. It seemed like all of Fort Worth turned out for the big party.
Hours before the angels sounded their trumpets, people gathered to take part in Fort Worth history.
Probably one of the most magnificent things that's happened in a city of this size in this century.
Major donors were shuttled in by trolley and given batons to help open the show. It's a night many have been waiting for.
This is our baby, and everyone in Fort Worth is proud and excited. We waited a lot longer than 9 months for this, and this is the big event.
To be a part of the beginning and the history of it is just wonderful.
Hi, nice to meet you. Well, we like theater. We go to theater in London a lot.
Well, if you couldn't take part of the Bass Hall party tonight, you can take part of the celebration tomorrow. They're going to have this light show, and it'll run every 30 minutes starting at 8:30 p.m. Live from downtown Fort Worth, Carrie Doyen, Fox 4 News.
And high above Carrie, there is the scene, the beautiful light show of the Bass Performance Hall. We're going to continue to take a look at this, so stay with us.
Hey, we're going to go back one more time to the dedication of the big celebration in Fort Worth tonight.
What a sight. And you know, the guy with the best view is Scott Wallace from Sky 4. I bet you've been having the best night of your life.
Well, that's right, Ashley. You know, this was supposed to start at 9. It started about 9:15. But these one of these things that's worth waiting for because it has been beautiful here from Sky 4. Right now it's purple and lavender and green, and it's been orange and it's been red, all different colors. It's just gorgeous. This is Scott Wallace reporting live from Sky 4.
Okay, well, thanks very much for staying with us. Don't forget, stay tuned because we have more of this coverage coming up and a lot of the other news with you.
Yep, 10 o'clock news straight ahead. Keep it right here.
Welcome to 11 News This Morning.
Good Friday morning, everyone. Welcome to 11 News This Morning. The time now just at 6 o'clock. Well, you no doubt have heard tonight is the big night when trumpets will sound and lights shine brightly on Fort Worth's newest performance hall.
Fort Worth's $67 million Nancy Lee and Perry R. Bass Performance Hall holds its grand opening celebrations throughout the weekend. The festivities get underway tonight. 11 News reporter Seal Spells joined us now live from the hall with more. Good morning, Seal.
Well, Ken and Ginger, those trumpets that you guys talked about are part of the 74-ton Angels, and they just turned the lights off. They're working on the lights on the outside of this building. Pretty phenomenal sight down here, though, and shortly after 9 o'clock tonight, the Fort Worth Symphony conductor John Giordano will lift his baton, and those two angels will sound their trumpets. Now, it took a significant amount of work to get to this point, and yesterday was no exception. Last-minute touch-ups were done to get the hall ready for its public debut outside tonight and to welcome its high-dollar donors at a private party inside this evening. The hall is funded entirely by private sources. So far, 4,000 donors have contributed or pledged $71 million. Bass Hall will host the Symphony, the Fort Worth Opera, Fort Worth Dallas Ballet, and the Van Cliburn Foundation. Construction supervisors say the 2,056-seat concert hall is ready for its big debut.
The project's been in real good shape for several months. Everything else we're doing now is touch-up paint, final clean, final adjustment of hardware, final adjustment of the seats in the audience chamber.
The formal dedication, sound and light show will start tonight at 9 o'clock, but if you can't make it here right at 9 into Sundance Square, don't worry because the sound and light show will be repeated every 30 minutes until midnight. Ken?
And again, I'm not sure if he just answered this question. When's the first performance?
Actually, Ken, I didn't answer that, so it's a good question. It's next weekend. The big gala event starts on Friday, May 8th, starring comedian Carol Burnett, mezzo-soprano Frederica Von Stade, and pianist Van Cliburn. And also on June 14th, the opera will stage Puccini's La Boheme.
Wow, pretty impressive stuff.
A lot of stuff coming up.
All right, thank you, Seal, for that update. We appreciate it. Join us tonight. We invite you to for the dedication ceremony. The Bass Performance Hall. We will broadcast live from the mezzanine at noon, 5, 6, and again at 10, and we'll give you a front row seat to all the excitement. Sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty spiffy weekend.
We're going to get culture.
And now, looking out for you. This is 11 News at noon.
A heavenly view of the Bass Performance Hall Angels from our sky eye as we prepare for the dedication of this breathtaking hall.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Ken Malloy. We'll have more local news from our studios here a little later on this broadcast.
All right, Ken, and I'm Renee Seiler, live at the Bass Performance Hall and this is where we're going to begin, 11 News at noon. We are getting ready for the dedication of this wonderful hall that spans an entire city block. At 9 o'clock tonight, conductor John Giordano of the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra will lift his baton, and the signature features of the hall, the massive angels outside, will sound their trumpets. Those trumpets will signal the opening of the Nancy Lee and Perry R. Bass Performance Hall. All right, so here's a look at tonight's schedule. At 9 p.m., the formal dedication takes place outside with a sound and light show. It will be followed by an invitation-only reception for major donors. Well, if you missed the 9 p.m. sound and light show tonight, you can see a repeat every half hour until 11:30 on East 4th Street between Commerce and Calhoun. Well, certainly over the years, many changes have been taking place here. So today is not only a wonderful day for the people who helped build Bass Hall, but for also the Downtown Arts District. Joining us now from outside the hall is 11 News reporter Jim Walker. Jim, hard to believe this day is finally here.
That's for sure, Renee. You know, this project is not only a dream come true for the donors to the Bass, but also for all the businesses in the area. The addition means a huge draw for the restaurants, coffee shops, and really even the other performance venues in this area. I want you to take a look right across the street here right now, and you can see there's a platform set up. This is one of the many stages that will be along the street. This whole area has been filled with all kinds of activity this morning. I want you to take a look at some video we shot earlier outside the Bass as they were scrubbing the brick, making sure it is really almost clean enough to eat off of. See, they were cleaning the gutter there, making sure even the street is clean, touching up the paint on the street lights out here, also setting up these platforms outside, even touching up the top windows on these buildings, making sure everything is just perfect. Now, all of these touches come after 3 long years of messy construction and sometimes frustration in this area, but now the big moment has finally arrived.
Oh, it's outstanding. It's the best thing that could happen for Fort Worth, and we're just excited to be here to see something like this, all the culture and all the art and music and everything that's going to follow in with it. It's going to be tremendous.
And the work continues even at this noon hour. Take a look over here and you can see they have got ladders set up right in front of the Bass as they are polishing the brass out here in the front door just 5 hours before the donors will walk through here. And take a look at this brick down here. Look at how clean this is. You would not believe how hard they've been working on this, making sure, as I said, it's almost clean enough to eat off of. Back to you, Renee.
Jim, do you get a sense from talking to the people down there in the street that they're very proud of this? This is a sense of pride for Fort Worth.
They certainly are proud of this. They have dealt with the frustration of construction, but one person we talked to said that people in Fort Worth have made an extra effort to come out and patronize their businesses, and this is only going to make it better.
All right, we shall see. All right, Jim Walker live in downtown Fort Worth, on street level, I should say. Thanks, Jim. While contributors inspect this architectural dream, many people will no doubt draw comparisons between this Bass Performance Hall and the Meyerson Symphony Center in Dallas. And here's what we found. The two are very different venues. The Meyerson is designed specifically for its chief tenant, the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. The Bass Hall will be a multi-purpose center for the symphony, opera, ballet, and big stage plays. Those who manage both music centers say the opening of the Bass Hall in no way signals new competition between the two cities.
With this hall, which is multi-purpose, we'll have the best of both worlds in the Metroplex.
The best of both worlds because those who manage the concert hall say more people will be able to enjoy the fine arts. One other major difference between the two halls, the Meyerson was built with a combination of public and private money. The Bass Performance Hall was funded solely from private funds. All right, so you're probably wondering when you can see a performance here. Well, that'll have to wait until next weekend. But here's what's happening this weekend. Tomorrow, there is a housewarming for all donors from 10 to 6. Tomorrow night, the outdoor sound and light show continues at 8 p.m. And then again, you can watch that every half hour until 11:30. All right, as for next weekend, the opening galas, an original comedy review, Let the Angels Play, kicks off Friday. It headlines pianist Van Cliburn, Federica von Stade, and Carol Burnett. The Fort Worth Symphony and Fort Worth Dallas Ballet are also included in that performance of Let the Angels Play. Bad news, though, all shows sold out except for the Sunday matinee on May the 10th. Well, it is certainly going to be an exciting evening and a really exciting weekend out here. I'll be back a little bit later in this newscast with more, but now I'm going to kick it back to the Fort Worth studio and Ken Malloy for the news of the day. Ken?
Okay, thanks, Renee.
It is oh so beautiful. Welcome back to 11 News at Noon, live from the Bass Performance Hall. From the planning stages to the drawing board to completion, this is the day that many people in Fort Worth and in North Texas, for that matter, had been waiting for, the dedication of the Bass Performance Hall in the heart of downtown Fort Worth. It is an absolutely beautiful hall, and it's one that words can hardly describe.
It all comes together with harmony, grace, and ease. But this was no overnight project. It's been in dreaming, planning, and building stages for some 6 years. An east and west dome ushers patrons into the hall, and it is breathtakingly beautiful.
Stone on the walls is a French limestone. The stone on the floors is an Italian marble.
Construction began on the $65 million facility shortly after crews broke ground in June of 1995. It's supposed to remind people of the great halls in Europe. This great hall in Fort Worth seats over 2,000 people, and unlike the Meyerson in Dallas, is designed to be more of a multi-purpose venue.
I have no doubt whatsoever that people will love, cherish, appreciate this building right from the onset.
Earlier this week, the hall played host to the sweet sounds of hammers and saws as workers raced to get things ready for this weekend. Designers wanted to build a hall that would last at least 3 centuries. In order to do that, crews used 4,000 pieces of limestone, along with thick Italian marble on the floors and plaster on the walls to preserve acoustic integrity.
The building really is designed to have a sense of wonder and a sense of ceremony. There is something to coming together with a group of people to experience a performance.
Oh, I know. I can hardly wait. It is beautiful here, and the architect says he wanted people to say wow when they walk in, and you know what? You will say that when you walk in. You may find some of the halls designed a little bit familiar. That's because the architect, David Schwartz, has also had his hand in some other projects in and around North Texas, among them the ballpark in Arlington. You'll notice his signature style, a mix of historical with high-tech engineering. Schwartz says something very important, the seating. He says he learned from the ballpark in Arlington that the greater variety of seats offered, the more experiences you offer to those sitting in them. Schwartz has also worked on Cook Children's Medical Center and the Sundance West Apartments.
Welcome to Positively Texas, live with your hosts Brenda Teal and Jody D.
Now, today is a day much of Fort Worth has been waiting for, the dedication of Bass Hall. Let's go live now to Jim Walker downtown for all the highlights happening there. Hi, Jim.
Brenda, there is a lot going on both inside and outside of the hall, and even at this late hour, just a few hours before the grand opening, they are still putting the finishing touches on this. Take a look right down here on the stage, and you can see they are cleaning and setting up, all making preparations for the big night tonight as the major donors will be in here taking the first look at the concert hall. 6 years from idea to reality to get this all set up, $65 million, and all of it from private donations. You can see that how they're working on the stage. Well, it has been like this day in and day out as we have been watching the preparations here. You can take a look at the hall right here live. You can see just how expansive it is. 5 levels, 2,100 seats in here. The architect David Schwartz designed this to look like a European concert hall, and I tell you, it lives up to it in every aspect of the fact. Also, take a look at the chairs. You are going to be absolutely comfortable in this. This is kind of what I would call one of the narrow chairs. This is a box seat, very comfortable, very cushy, plenty of space. The bigger seats are the seats that are actually on the floor. I mean, Renee Seiler could fit into one of those even in her condition right now. But I tell you, this is a great place. You walk in here and you simply go, wow, there is nothing you can say. It really does leave you speechless. I want you to take a look at the schedule for this evening tonight. The grand opening begins with a ceremony at 9 o'clock. That's going to be a sound and light show outside. That's the public dedication. That'll be followed by an invitation-only reception for major donors. If you miss the 9 p.m. show, you can catch it every half hour until 11:30. That's, of course, at East 4th Street between Commerce and Calhoun. Now, this weekend, and that is tomorrow, all donors will be welcome for a public housewarming. Public invited 10 to 6. They're asking for a slight donation, if you would. Saturday night, the sound and light show continues at 8 p.m. That'll continue until 8:30, till 11:30 rather. And the opening day gala happens May 8th to May 10th. That's the Let the Angels Play concert. The headlines are pianist Van Cliburn, Frederica Von Stade, and Carol Bonnet. A lot going on tonight, a lot going on this weekend and next weekend. You don't want to miss it.
Jim, thanks so much. Now, for those of you who don't know, Renee Seiler is very pregnant right now, so it's good to know that she can sit comfortably at the Bass Hall.
Welcome back to Positively Texas. Let's go live again to Bass Hall, the Bass Performance Hall, we should say, in downtown Fort Worth, where the excitement is building for tonight's dedication. Jim Walker, Channel 11 News. It's going to be a night to remember down there.
It sure is, Jody. Without a doubt, you do want to be down here, but there's one place you don't want to be, and that's right where I'm standing. Here's why. Take a look at this huge speaker behind me. This is one of about a dozen that they're going to have here on East 4th Street as it is closed down. You take a look right across the street here on the ground, and you can see they have a canopy set up. That's one of a number that are going to be along here as the big show begins tonight. And to cover all of that, take a look up at the top of the parking garage, and you will see Channel 11 has a boom camera set up, and they're going to show us what we look like from the ground right there. And that's going to pick up all the action here on the ground as the big show gets underway. Now, we want to give you all the information on the scheduling tonight, so take a look at the information we have for you. The big show gets underway at 9. That's the formal public dedication with the sound and light show down here. That'll be followed by an invitation-only reception for major donors. If you miss the 9 o'clock show, you can catch it every half an hour until 11:30, and this is all happening, of course, on East 4th Street between Commerce and Calhoun. Now, this weekend, that is tomorrow, we have the donor housewarming, 10 to 6. If you are a member of the public and you want to get in, you can make a donation and tour the facility. That'll be followed by the sound and light show again tomorrow night on the half hour, 8 to 11:30. And then the opening gala weekend, May 8th to the 10th, Let the Angels Play. A number of artists scheduled for that gala performance. A big weekend, a big 2 weeks for the Bass Performance Hall. Back to you, Jody.
Oh, I envy you, Jim. It is going to be a big 2 or 3 weeks here, and we'll have more at 5, 6, and 10. By the way, Star Telegram said they've added 8 more performances of Phantom of the Opera in June, so that's 8 more chances for you to see the inside of the new Bass Hall.
And now, looking out for you. This is 11 News at 5.
And you're looking at a bird's eye view of the $65 million house that Bass built.
In just a few hours, the Angels will herald a night that will change the face of downtown Fort Worth. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Cameron Harper at the 11 News Desk.
And I'm Renee Seiler, live in Fort Worth, where just a few hours from now, we're going to have the dedication of the Bass Performance Hall.
Certainly a big night for Fort Worth, an even bigger night, Renee, for the Bass family. A lot of excitement out there already.
Oh, you can feel it, Cameron. You can feel it out here tonight. This fabulous hall, which spans an entire city block, is going to be officially dedicated. At 9 p.m., conductor John Giordano of the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra will lift his baton, and the signature features of the hall, the massive angels outside, will sound their trumpets. Those trumpets will signal the opening of the Nancy Lee and Perry R. Bass Performance Hall. There is so much more to show you, and we will do that in just a few moments. But first, we want to head back to Cameron in the Channel 11 studios, where we understand there's lots of news going on. Cameron.
There is plenty of news. Thanks, Renee. What a spectacular night we're going to have in Fort Worth, though.
Oh, Cameron, you're not kidding. Wouldn't you know that just as soon as we start to talk here, they start doing a sound check. Isn't that always how it is? But anyway, they're testing the sound and the lighting here. It's just wonderful being out here, a beautiful facility. Cameron, did you know there are angels hovering high above the city of Fort Worth? Well, at least for a part of the city of Fort Worth. 2 angels, 48 feet tall, adorn the outside of the Bass Performance Hall. They are the dream and hard work of a Hungarian-born sculptor.
It's hard to imagine sculpturing with an industrial grinder the delicate features that make up the face, hair, even wings of these heavenly creatures. But Marton Varro did it. Each statuesque female emerged from 52 pieces of Cordova cream Texas limestone. Completely assembled, they're nearly 50 feet tall and weigh some 250,000 pounds each.
And the angels in our mind are beautiful creatures. I was just looking at models, all kinds of magazines, and all the women around me. And I just made something in my mind which is not a certain person, but a synthesis of what I think of beauty.
Varro did most of his painstaking work at his outdoor studio in Southern California. The pieces were then shipped to Fort Worth to be assembled. But the feathered adornment was carved where it now rests.
When you are doing this for 30-some years like I have done, you learn respect for stone, and you understand, and you just don't break it.
It is truly hard to comprehend their beauty. I got a chance to take a look at them up close, or at least a portion of them up close and in person, and they are every bit as wonderful in person as they are in picture. But still ahead, the real angels in the hall. We're going to introduce you to the people who have spent hundreds of hours making sure tonight goes off without a hitch. And listen to this, they did it all for free. The price was right. But first, back to Cameron in the studio. Cameron.
Those angels do make a spectacular front entrance for that
they are
place,
gorgeous.
Don't they? All right, Bass Hall, Renee Seiler. Talk to you in a few minutes. From angels to stars, still ahead, Dallas bites back.
Well, there's a lovely picture of the inside of the Bass Performance Hall. Quiet right now except for a sound check, but that'll change next weekend. Needless to say, this project has employed dozens of people over the last 4 years, as many on the payroll as those who were not on the payroll, people who worked for free. 11 News reporter Jim Walker has a look at the many, many volunteers who helped turn this vision into a reality.
Well, Renee, right now, before we talk about the volunteers, I want to show you what's happening here on street level on 4th Street. Take a look behind me. You can see they are setting up these massive speakers for the big show tonight that begins at 9. Upstairs at the top of the parking garage, you can see the big Channel 11 boom cam that's going to capture all of the action that you'll see coming up tonight at 10. Of course, these are all the paid people, but there were also many dozens, even hundreds of people who were volunteers here. You might even call them angels of the hall.
The 72-inch will go dead center here. You have to leave.
The directions have been continuous. One chair goes here, another over there.
Do we have the 72-inch? Is it here?
With all kinds of last-minute questions. All of this effort, all by volunteers.
We've been working for about the past year to get ready for this weekend. Mainly in training the volunteers, making sure that everybody who comes through this hall will have a great experience.
This weekend, more than 300 volunteers will be stationed in the lobby and inside the Great Hall, showing the place with pride to more than 5,000 people.
We are so thrilled that this day has finally come so we can turn this beautiful hall over to the public.
From the donors on the wall to the volunteers down the hall, the Bass family insisted from the very beginning that this would be the Hall of the People.
Well, it was really fun for me because 3 years ago, we sat right here on this spot at the groundbreaking, and where there was nothing here and there was just a tent, and there were about 1,000 people here for the groundbreaking. And so to be able to have watched it for the past 3 years and to be able to see a finished project is pretty incredible.
Angels on the outside, angels on the inside, the angels of the hall. And here you see us down here on the ground floor, right outside the front doors of the Bass Hall. And when the people start coming through these doors tonight, they're hoping that these volunteers will also be angels of good behavior. That is, there are certain things they'll say and won't say. Among the things they will say is good evening, as opposed to hi, hello, or howdy. Among the other things you'll hear them say is, may I help you find your seat, as opposed to, you look lost, which would probably be me the first time in here. Back to you, Renee.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost. Or, hey, where are you going?
Yeah, yeah, that's the other one. And no pointing.
No gum chewing, I'm sure, too. Hey, Jim, you're down there on street level. What do you see in the people that are passing? Are they sort of looking at the hall and gawking, and then, like we've all been doing over the last year or so?
Certainly. Everyone who has passed by here today, they have stopped here at the glass, looked in, peered in at the security guard inside, and tried to get a glimpse of what everyone is so anxious to see, and that is this magnificent place.
All right, Jim Walker, live at street level down there in front of the Bass Performance Hall. Thank you, Jim. No doubt the Bass Hall will be a great place to take visiting friends and family, and certainly they'll want to take a little something back with them when they leave. The Bass Hall gift shop on the first floor offers everything from unusual instruments to t-shirts. Sure to be a favorite, and already a favorite of Mr. Bass, is a lapel pin shaped like a leaf. Other favorites include anything having to do with angels, matching the angels on the outside of the building. Best of all the proceeds from the gift shop benefit Fort Worth music students. Well, we'll see you back here live at the Bass Performance Hall in just a few minutes, but up next, Meteorologist John Honore will let us know how our weekend weather is shaping up.
It's certainly a big night for North Texas, the historic night unfolding in Fort Worth, and Renee is right in the middle of it. Renee?
Oh, it's so exciting, Cameron. Before we go tonight, I want to give you a look at tonight's schedule. At 9 p.m., the formal public dedication takes place outside with a sound and light show that is followed by an invitation-only reception for major donors. If you miss the 9 p.m. sound and light show, you can see a repeat every half hour until 11:30 on East 4th Street between Commerce and Calhoun. Lots of excitement ahead. Cameron, we'll see you back here tonight in about 30 minutes for 11 News at 6 o'clock.
Major donor. $1.50 probably didn't get me there, huh?
Your name is not on the list.
Thanks, Renee. We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock. And thanks a lot for joining us. CBS News is coming up.
And now, 11 minutes of non-stop news and your forecast first. This is 11 News at 10. Looking out for you.
$65 million in donations created this spectacular site. Tonight, the new Bass Performance Hall in Fort Worth opens its doors in grand fashion. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Karen Borda.
And I'm Cameron Harper. The Nancy Lee and Perry R. Bass Performance Hall is both a showpiece and a showplace.
2 hours ago, a formal dedication ceremony took place with an outdoor sound and light show in front of the hall on 4th Street in Fort Worth. Hundreds of people crowded the streets to see the incredible display of light and sound.
More than 4,000 families, individuals, foundations, and businesses donated the money to build the hall. Tonight, this is a thank you party for them. Guests for the private affair arrived in grand style this evening. Donors include a child who sent in Tooth Fairy money and a country western band member who came to love the symphony.
Nancy Lee and Perry R. Bass donated the 40,000 square foot piece of land on which the hall was built. Tonight, they said they are overwhelmed.
To think that this magnificent hall is named for us, you know, it's a very flattering thing to have happen to anybody. And we are besides ourselves with how beautiful it is. We've seen it already, and it's just gorgeous, outside and inside.
Bass Hall took almost 3 years to build. Two 48-foot angels sculpted from Texas limestone greet guests at the main entrance. Inside the hall, more than 2,000 people can be seated. It's a multi-purpose hall, has an 80-foot diameter dome with a view of the Texas sky. This will be the permanent home for the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra, Fort Worth Dallas Ballet, Fort Worth Opera, and the Cliburn International Piano Competition. Downtown Fort Worth has certainly changed a lot over the years.
The big attractions used to be the stockyards and Billy Bob's, but now there is a lot more to see and do.
A lot more. 11 News reporter Stephanie Lucero is live outside the Bass Performance Hall tonight. Steph?
Well, Cameron and Karen, they have been lighting up the Bass Performance Hall to the music of angels, and of course, these are now Texas Angels. They call the Bass Performance Hall the crown jewel of Fort Worth, and there's no doubt that in recent years, all of downtown Fort Worth has really started to sparkle.
The renovation and restoration of downtown Fort Worth has been years, even decades in the making. In the 70s, the Central Business District suffered the same fate as other cities. People and commerce moved to suburbia. But in the late 70s, Charles Tandy built the Tandy Center. In the early 80s, the Basses committed to a hotel, and then Sundance Square. Since then, hotels, restaurants, and retail followed. There are now 20 movie theaters downtown, and nightlife is flourishing.
The exciting things we have downtown in Fort Worth are the product of public-private partnerships. The city government, the business community working together to create an entertainment district and a downtown business district second to none.
The stalwart since the early 80s and an attraction that lures people from both sides of the Metroplex is also a Bass development, the Caravan of Dreams.
And with the energy that's on the street and on the sidewalk with the foot traffic,
The overall impression, the first impression is you come into Sundance Square, it's all free parking at night, and I don't know any other city in downtown America that offers free parking at night.
2 years ago, Del Frisco Steakhouse moved into an historic building at 8th and Main.
From 92 on, the growth that I've seen in the last 6 years has been just tremendous.
Okay.
The traffic count downtown is just unbelievable.
So from Cowtown to Cosmopolitan, and they say that all of the police presence here in the downtown Fort Worth area has also made downtown Fort Worth a very safe place to be. By all accounts, tonight's dedication has been a big success. So now Cameron and Karen, they have to look forward to the big first performance next weekend, and that will absolutely be a big event as well.
Oh, yeah.
Stephanie, looks like a good time. Enjoy the party tonight.
All right.
See you later.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Now, live, this is NBC5 Early Report.
The long-awaited unveiling of the Nancy Lee and Perry Bass Performance Hall takes place this evening with a formal dedication.
The acoustics, the architectural touches, the 80-foot Great Dome make the Performance Hall a real gem for performing arts and Fort Worth. NBC5's Linda Frederick joins us live now from the hall in downtown. Good morning to you, Linda.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Shelley. We've been sort of treated to a real sneak peek this morning. There's supposed to be a spectacular light show scheduled for 9 o'clock this evening, and some of the technicians have been out here this morning testing it out. Of course, when we hit the air, they're going to turn off the lights because they don't want any of you guys to see it yet. But it is quite spectacular. It took 3 years and $65 million, but this incredible facility is under budget and on time, and once inside, there are some incredible sights and sounds to behold.
They say there's not a bad seat in the house, and there are more than 2,000 of them. During rehearsals over the past week, visitors have given rave reviews.
In every single place you can hear everything perfect. It's just wonderful. We are so lucky to have this hall in Fort Worth.
Plans for this facility were unveiled 5 years ago. The hopes were high then.
It will really complete our cultural picture in Fort Worth, and it will really, I think, focus the performing arts in downtown.
And from the looks of things now, that's exactly what the Bass Performance Hall will do. It will be home to the Fort Worth Ballet, the Opera, the Symphony, the Van Cliburn Piano Competition, and many of Casa Manana's performances. But it could attract those who aren't even interested in the arts.
This is like a town hall. We want it to be used every day by the people of Fort Worth. We permit weddings here, parties here, big corporate employee meetings, religious services, you name it.
Now, despite the spectacular aura of this building, that's one of the things that the people who've been involved in this entire project try to get across to us time after time, is that this has been a community project. Donations have surpassed $70 million, and they want us all to know that it will be open to the public, and there are going to be many events that rank and file folks, you don't have to be a rich art patron to attend, will be able to come and see this incredible facility. It's been built with a lot of Texas products, and though it sort of looks like a European opera house, it's got those 21st century technologies that are going to make it so great inside. And coming up in our next half hour, we'll take you inside, show you a tour, and also visit with the architect who designed this incredible building. Shelley, Jeff?
All right, Linda, thank you very much.
For the first time, Fort Worth Symphony and Ballet, its classical artists and its talented performers will have a place all their own to call home.
The Bass Performance Hall in downtown will officially be dedicated tonight. NBC5's Linda Frederick joins us from outside the incredible facility. And Linda, you kind of have to see it in person to really appreciate it, don't you?
You really do. It's one of those things that television really just doesn't do it justice. And this is what you're going to see part of tonight. This is just part of the spectacular light show that's supposed to be part of the dedication ceremonies this evening. And technicians have been out here this morning sort of testing that out and all. Many of us over the last year or so have been driving through downtown Fort Worth along Commerce and 4th Street. And we've seen this building sort of emerge from a 40,000 square foot hole in the ground, but in most of the cases the views have been obscured by the scaffolding and the construction crews and all those dump trucks. But as of today, we can see this building in all its splendor.
And it is spectacular, very reminiscent of classic European opera houses.
When they walk in, there are many, many things to delight the eye, from the column order that was designed for this building, the Bass Hall column order, to the small details of the lights and the railings.
David Schwartz is the architect. He's also a candidate to design the new Dallas Arena. His other local works include Cook Children's Medical Center and the ballpark in Arlington. But this project was different.
We wanted all of the architecture to perform the acoustic functions. We didn't want to have to add anything for the acoustics. We wanted the building to have a great deal of warmth and intimacy, and we really wanted it to feel grand and intimate at the same time.
Even with its more than 2,000 seats, there's an intimate feel to the place, and it's definitely grand.
I think it's unbelievable. Really do. It knocks me out.
There's an 80-foot diameter great dome topping the Founders Concert Theater. Murals depicting subtle Texas images adorn the majestic West Lobby Dome. And then there's those angels. They arrived in 104 pieces, weighing about 360 tons. Carved from Texas limestone, they grace the grand facade. Their creator and their sculptor say they symbolize a historic development in the soul of the city.
Now, the official dedication of the Nancy Lee and Perry Bass Performance Hall begins tonight at 9 p.m. and donors are permitted to tour the facility throughout the weekend. But the first performances here at the Bass Hall won't take place until next weekend, and I'll be telling you more about that coming up in our next half hour. Shelley, Jeff?
All right, Linda, thank you very much.
Looking forward to this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the opening act at the new Bass Performance Hall isn't until next week.
But the movers and shakers behind the Performance Hall are anxious to show off the newest and brightest gem in downtown Fort Worth. NBC 5's Linda Frederick joins us live from outside the Nancy Lee and Perry Bass Performance Hall. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. I've had the opportunity to be inside and see all the majesty and the grandeur of this building, and it is quite spectacular. The new Bass Performance Hall is also expected to have a spectacular impact on the reputation and image of the Fort Worth Cultural District as well.
So far, it sounds great.
And listen to that harp. It can just tell you how there's a bloom to that sound. The room is creating that bloom.
It looks great.
It really is breathtaking.
And it's expected to draw thousands of people and millions of dollars to Fort Worth.
You will not have to go to New York to see fabulous shows and performances. We're going to be able to have them here.
This project has been 2 decades in the making. For years, Fort Worth arts organizations dreamed of a world-class performance hall. And under the leadership and vision of Fort Worth investor Ed Bass, that dream is now a reality.
The $5, the $10 that people might be able to give is everybody is important. We want very much for all the people of Tarrant County to feel that this is their facility.
And so far, the community has donated nearly $80 million to the hall, which is named for Ed Bass's parents.
We thought it was a little much, but they said they wanted to do it.
Fort Worth favorite son Van Cliburn will play the first musical note on the stage on opening night. Carol Burnett, another former Texan, will be starring in an original comedy review called Let the Angels Play. And this is just the beginning. In the weeks and months to come, dozens of famous performers will take to the stage. The box office is already busy, and performing arts supporters expect it to stay that way.
Now, as many as 6,000 people are expected for the opening weekend dedication ceremonies. As I mentioned, more than $70 million has already been contributed by more than 4,000 different individuals, corporations, and companies, all to make this happen. And donations are still being accepted. Coming up in our next half hour, we'll tell you how you can still become a part of this historic opening of the Nancy Lee and Perry Bass Performance Hall. Shelley, Jeff?
Thank you, Linda.
Looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
The spotlight is on downtown Fort Worth this weekend for the dedication of the Bass Performance Hall.
The sounds of the cranes and jackhammers have dimmed, now replaced with the sounds of strings and horns as a diversified group of performers take the stage. NBC 5's Linda Frederick joins us live from Fort Worth with information on how we can all take part in what's considered an historic event. Good morning again, Linda.
Good morning, Shelley. Good morning, Jeff. Now, the doors behind me will be open at the Bass Performance Hall to donors only tonight, and there are thousands of them. But if you want to get a peek inside, you too can still become a donor.
If you ever wanted to see this place, get a tour, peek behind stage, this is the time.
We will be taking donations at the door, and you can come in and have a self-guided tour and then a backstage tour.
Donors can take their tour throughout the weekend and see for themselves the incredible Great Dome above the theater, tour the musically motifed bathrooms, and revel in the majesty of this place.
Every time someone comes in, it's so exciting because they look up and their mouth drops in awe, and it's just awe-inspiring totally.
And it sounds great too. Something as basic as a clap illustrates the acoustic versatility of the hall. And that was the big challenge in designing the hall for different sounds, for operas, for orchestras, for louder popular performers. The acoustical engineer thinks he's met the challenge, but the reviews are still out.
In the end, it is the judgments that people make of the quality of a concert hall that counts, and that has to be our goal.
And the man who designed the building is also a bit apprehensive about its debut.
It won't feel good until it's done. It won't be done until after the first performances. I'm sort of like a nervous parent waiting for my child to go off to college and see how it does.
There is a great deal of anticipation about the opening of the new Nancy Lee and Bass Performance Hall. As we mentioned, the doors will be open to the donors tonight at 9 o'clock. But for anybody who's in downtown Fort Worth, you'll be able to take a look at least at the outside of this magnificent facility. There's going to be a spectacular light and music show coming up at 9 o'clock this evening, and it will be repeated on the half hour throughout the evening. Technicians have been out here throughout the morning sort of testing out the lights, and it's going to be very colorful, very spectacular, just like the opening of this incredible facility. Jeff, Shelley?
Linda, one thing that you mentioned in an earlier report this morning is that this facility is really going to be in use just about all the time. It's got a wide variety of uses.
It really does. I think there may be a misconception, at least initially, that this is for just the upper crust arts patrons, those who want to attend, say, Phantom of the Opera or this opening comedy review with Carol Burnett and Van Cliburn. But it's going to be available for weddings, corporate meetings, Christmas parties, that kind of thing. So hopefully at any point in this, just the rank and file resident of North Texas, or perhaps throughout the entire nation, can come and take a look at this facility. And if you want to come in and maybe see what it's like, maybe see where your seats are for a particular performance, this is the weekend to do it.
Sounds good, Linda. Maybe that's a hint for where our NBC5 Christmas party should
Yeah, wouldn't that be a great idea?
Thank you, Linda.